Tonight on News 5 Live, PM Briceño says the unions have a right to strike, but the current pension scheme in Belize is unsustainable. A highway crash claims another life. Latin America and Caribbean environmentalists meet in San Pedro, and a Belize City school gets a playground upgrade. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited postpaid plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Welcome to Design Depot, home of Sherwin-Williams Paint. Sherwin-Williams Paint is one of the most reputable paints in the industry, known for its superior quality, durability, and environmentally friendly technology. We carry a large variety of products for all your home and commercial needs, such as interior and exterior paints, primers, wood stains, sealers, clear top coats, caulking, aerosols, concrete, and masonry products. Achieve professional-looking results with ease using Sherwin-Williams paint and coating. Available at Design Depot, all in one place.
All Capital Sports and Muy Uno presents Friday Night Lights, featuring the battle of undefeated teams on Friday, February 10th, inside the Belize Civic Center. It's your high-octane, sharp-shooting, high-flying Belize City Defenders returning home to do battle with the Western Ballers Basketball Club. Come bear witness as Stephen Daly shoots his way into your heart. JT Branch soaring up high, and to entertain the fans, the Talladega mega tornado Nigel Jones will be pushing the pace of the game. But wait, we have something for you. The first 200 persons entering the Civic will receive a free Defenders limited edition t-shirt. The official after party goes down at Shisha 8 Lounge. Tip-off is set for 9 p.m. and tickets go on sale on Thursday at 10 a.m. at the Civic Center ticketing booth. Sponsored by Muy Uno, 123 Vegetable Oil, Honorable Anthony Mala, Channel 5, The Tavern, Print Inc., Premier Charters and Tours, Party 2000, Shisha 8 Lounge, Brain Freeze Margaritas, Full Memory Photography, Smiling Meats, Nocturnal, and Mars Rental.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, February 8th. I am Sabrina Daly. Prime Minister John Briceño was in San Pedro this morning for a regional event, which we will tell you about later in the newscast. While there, we caught up with him to get his response on the issue raised at the Joint Union press conference on Tuesday. As we told you last night, the joint unions are demanding that the Briceño administration unfreeze public servants' increments by April 1st, or else. We asked Prime Minister Briceño if he is concerned about possible industrial action to come April 1st. He said it is the union's right to strike if they believe they need to. Here is what he had to say.
Well, I've always started the premise that the unions have a right to strike. And if they believe that they need to strike, they can strike. It is their right in this country. But what is important to us is that we're doing the right thing. When we met with the joint unions in early 2021, we laid the facts on them that Belize was at the verge of bankruptcy. We had no money to be able to pay them, and that we all had to do some sort of sacrifice. Because let me point out that during the pandemic, the public officers, all of them collected 100% of their salaries. But if you were to ask people in the private sector, many people lost their jobs, and even many more got significant pay cuts. I remember the people at Love FM, they had to cut their salary by more than 50% just to have something for them. So they got their full 100% of their salary. So it was time for them to be able to make some sacrifice. We could have been political of the decision back then, because one of the recommendations from the IMF was that we need to fire at least 3,000 or dismiss at least 3,000 employees. And we, in good conscience, just could not do that. I mean, these 3,000 quite likely have been UDP supporters, because we have not been hiring anybody for the past 13 years. So we felt that we then sat with them and said, let us all take some do some sort of sacrifice so that we can get out of this together. And I appreciate that finally they managed to grudgingly accept the sacrifice, the pay cuts for 3 years, and also the freezes of increment for 3 years. 1 year afterwards, we gave back the increments. Here we are now at the end of the second year. We're about to start the third year. And we have been discussing with them. We have said we're prepared to take a look at the issue of now restoring the increments. Of course, it will start now, and that's not going to be going back, it's going forward.
And while Prime Minister Briceño says his administration is prepared to deal with the issue of frozen increments, there is a catch. He is calling on the unions to come to the table to discuss pension reform and to agree that the current pension structure for public servants is unsustainable. The government is proposing a revised structure that would see public officers contribute towards their pension. On Tuesday, the unions took a strong position on this point, declaring that no public servants already in the system will pay into any new pension scheme. The unions also believe that the Prime Minister is mixing up two separate matters, increments and pension reform. Here is what PM Briceño had to say.
But also we're making the point to the unions that one, that increment is supposed to be based on merit. It's not on automatic increment. And secondly, that we also have to look at the issue of pension reform. Belize is one of the probably few countries in the world where the pension is paid by the taxpayers, 100%. This year, as we come to the end of this financial year, we'll be paying approximately, I think it's over $100 million. By 2025, it's going to be at about $130 million. It's going up exponentially. We cannot afford it. So we have to find a way where we can protect or come up with what we call a grandfather clause, whereby those that are in the system for a certain number of years, that they do not lose because it would not be fair to them. But we also have to come up with a new formula, a formula where both the public officer and the government combined would make payments towards a pension for them. That is the way it works everywhere in the world. And in Belize, many companies, many businesses in the private sector do that, where both employer and employee put monies together for the employee to be able to get a pension.
Help us understand how the frozen increments and pension reform ties into each other, relate to each other. Is it simply because of the amount of spending that we have to do on pension reforms on pension at this time, pension payouts, that we simply can't afford to unfreeze these increments?
Well, no, it's not a matter of not wanting to unfreeze the increments. It's a matter of sitting down and talking with them. I have said this to them already in a joint meeting that we had in around the middle of December. I've explained this to them. So it is nothing new. The point is that it is unsustainable. And as a country, we cannot afford it.
Responding to their request specifically for April 1st, do you see that being a possibility or a probability?
Well, we can meet April 1st. It all depends on them if they're prepared to negotiate seriously and work on what we have in front of us. I mean, if we can't finish the negotiations by the 1st of April, then it has to continue. But if they want, we could do it in one sitting. It's simple. It's a matter of what needs to be done, and they know what needs to be done.
PM Briseno also responded to questions about the drawn-out collective bargaining agreement negotiations between the Belize National Teachers Union and the government of Belize. At Tuesday's press conference, BNTU President Elena Smith raised the issue that it has been almost 15 years of negotiating the CBA. One point of contention in those negotiations is the travel allowance for teachers. So we asked the Prime Minister where his administration stands on paying these allowances to teachers, particularly in hard-to-reach communities. His response is that there are other pressing matters in education that should keep teachers awake.
On the issue of paying or allowances for teachers that are traveling, there's so much needs in this country. There's so many children that are not going to school because they can't afford it. So that is just another one. And it's something that we're prepared to take a look at. And if we can afford to pay it, I would happily do so. But we have others. We have schools that are in such a dire state of repairs. These are the things that we have to look at. It's not only the teachers, but also the children. Our children have lost probably a year and a half, and we have to be able to play catch up so that they can be able to get them ready to go to the next classroom or to high school or sixth form and university. These are the things that should keep them awake. How is it? Why is it that 50% of our children don't go to high school? And we need to ask a question, or we need to question that. Yes, it's the parent, yes, it's the government, but also the teachers. They also have to do their part. We are all in the Belize boat together. I mean, if the Belize boat sink, we sink, they sink all the way. So we have to make sure that we could get these things right to be able to move this country forward, to be able to create opportunities for all our citizens.
The argument is that some persons on that boat have more comfortable seating arrangements on the Belize boat. The financial demands being made by the union is with the backdrop of perhaps the salary increase for judges as one example, and the increase your transport allowance as another example. More comfortable seating and accommodations on the Belize boat.
Well, we want them to have a comfortable seating on the Belize boat, but they also have to help us to be able to get the country growing. so that then we can collect more taxes and to be able to give them even more. I would wish to double their salaries. I would wish to give them more, but we can't give what we don't have. And as to the issue of the vehicle, they have beat that to death. The point is that what we're doing right now, I'm saving the government money. If the government were to buy my vehicle for me, and if the government then to pay for change my tires, pay to change the oil, pay to fix the vehicle, is going to cost a lot more than what I'm being given as my as allowance. If you make them happy and want the government to buy me a vehicle, that's fine by me. The thing is that
Prime Minister Briceño was also asked about his administration's position on the Chamber of Commerce and Industry's draft campaign finance legislation. As we have reported, the BCCI has formulated draft legislation on which they briefed the media back in January. But is it something the government is prepared to look at?
we're prepared to look at anything that can work at the end of the day, because again, the chamber, many of them like to pontificate, but they don't walk the walk. I am prepared to take a look at what they have, and it is something that's applicable. We'd be happy to do so. Look at what happened to the United States. Everyone like to talk about the United States being the bastion of democracy. Look at how much money now it costs to elect a president, about $1 billion. Look at the dark money that they have. You have what they call, refer to dark money. You have these so-called NGOs there in the United States that pump billions, hundreds of millions of dollars. For instance, just yesterday, I think was it, or the day before, I watched on TV where the Koch brothers, for the 2020 election, spent $500 million in trying to get their candidate elected. Is that what we want? Obviously not. Don't you think I want to have an election that's going to cost us a lot less? Of course we want to, but it has to be something that's applicable and can be that can work, and not that we pass laws where you tie your hands and yet others can do as they wish.
Just after midday today, there was a collision on the Spanish Lookout Road in western Belize. A man on a motorcycle reportedly collided head-on with a white pickup truck traveling in the opposite direction. The accident occurred in the vicinity of the BNE headquarters, and reports are that the deceased, whose name is still being withheld at this time, was traveling on a blue motorcycle. According to information received, the impact flung the motorcyclist to the pavement and ultimately to his death. There was an earthquake that rattled the Honduran coast this morning, and some of the tremors were said to be felt in Belize. This first concern Belizeans had a result of the news was whether there would be a tsunami watch to follow. But despite the concern, the 5.5 magnitude earthquake was not significant enough to cause any known major damage or casualties. News 5 spoke today with Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon to find out more about the earthquake and how we would know if a tsunami was actually heading to our shores.
At about 9:16 this morning, local time, we had a 5.5 magnitude earthquake occurring at about 38 kilometers to the northwest of Guanaja, Honduras. The system was, or the earthquake, was at a depth of about 10 kilometers, and there were reports of tremors across the country. Some residents reported feeling the tremors from the earthquake. So we don't have instruments in country to determine if a tsunami is triggered, but we rely on information coming from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, and we are on their mailing list. So immediately after an earthquake triggers a tsunami, we would receive an alert coming from them, either via email or through fax. And as the National Tsunami Warning Focal Point for the country, the National Meteorological Service would give that information to NEMO so that the necessary alert can be put out to the public.
And how soon after the tsunami is triggered do we get the notification?
I would say within about 5 to 10 minutes we'll get a notification if there is a threat of a tsunami.
Coming up, former Dext Adapt concert promoters say we will repay customers who bought tickets for 2020 concert that never happened. Find out the details when we come back.
The city been in ruins for too long. Our city cries a new song. A superhero has risen from the ashes. The football gods have granted our wishes. We fight, we run the city. Port Loyola, Port Loyola. Port Loyola versus Altitude FC. Sunday, February 12th at 4 p.m. Venue, Maureen Jones Stadium. General admission 10. Kids under 12 enters free. Food and drinks on sale. Come support our Belize City Gladiators.
Who offers the best home internet experience? The truth is, Digi, of course. Diginet has the largest fiber network and the fastest speeds with the most reliable service. That's more learning, more earning, more gaming, more bonding, more sharing, getting more things done. And now, Diginet is even more affordable with the new entry plan, a 20 megabits per second fiber connection for just $49 monthly, and increased speeds in all plans. The truth is, only Digi has the ultimate home internet experience, with savings up to $270 when you bundle. Wireless and cable can't give you that. So what are you waiting for? Sign up or make the switch to DigiNet today to enjoy more speeds to get more done. Digi, our national telecom.
You could still come over though, if you watch a movie or something.
Oh my God, I can't believe this happened.
Under the bed or in the closet, which one?
I got 3 boys. I need them to be better men than me. I mean, better men than we.
Please don't go wind up.
Who has stopped me? Hello? Hello? Who has stopped me? Which one I want to know?
For We Family Season 2 begins January 26 at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and on News 5 Live's Facebook page. Brought to you by the National Commission for Families and Children in collaboration with the National Parenting Task Force and UNICEF.
Hi, I am Maria Sobeidayam from the beautiful Pachacan Village, Corozal District. I am a proud teacher for the Corozal Community College and also proud and satisfied customer for Development Finance Corporation of Belize. My experience with DFC, it started in 1997 when I first went to ask for assistance for a student loan so I could complete my bachelor's degree in biology. And thankfully it was approved, and so as a result of that I was able to finish my studies. Being the institution that would provide what I needed, I then applied for a loan to do an extension at my house so that I could better accommodate myself and my 4 girls. I am so thankful to Mr. Che, who assisted me in getting a reduced interest rate of 7.5%, which when you look at it, it is a significant amount that I am able to save when it comes to my payment. I was able to get an additional amount so that I would build my upstairs, which is something that I had wanted to do long time ago. And so finally now I have my upstairs. I am able to accommodate my growing family, which is my daughter with her husband and my first grandson downstairs. And of course now I have much more space for myself and my other girls upstairs. And so as a family, I can say that DFC has improved my quality of life by giving me the opportunity to do the projects that I have wanted to do, and I can say that I am satisfied up to now.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Welcome to 2023's official city shutdown. Young Survivors Entertainment presents the biggest concert to kick off 2023 in grand style. Are you ready? Let the party begin. Because international music superstar Dexter Dabbs.
Watch this now, man. February 11th. Get ready to shut down Belize. Dexter Dabbs live band performance. Don't miss this, don't diss this.
Romain Virgo.
This is Romain Virgo. A Young Survivors Entertainment present a thing called Shut Down Belize. Marion Jones Stadium. You can't afford to miss this one. Get your tickets right now.
Kitty.
Hey, watch your boy Kitty, aka the Sugar Daddy from Ghana. On 11th of February, I'm coming straight live into Belize. We're having a good time inside the Marion Jones Sports Complex. Shout out to Young Survivors Entertainment.
Camido.
Yes, man, this is a call to let you guys know that on the 11th of February, Camido is coming through Belize Shutdown. Big shout outs to Young Survivors Entertainment.
Moyan.
Make sure to lock the date, February 11th, 2023. It's called Shutdown Belize by Young Survivors Entertainment. You know.
Super G, My May, Unlimited, Britney Star will shut down February at the Shutdown Belize. It's happening. Marion Jones Stadium on the 11th of February. You can't afford to miss this. A lineup of artists you've never seen before, live in Belize. Tickets are selling fast. $50 for general. VIP is $150 and get an ultra VIP treatment for $200. The gate opens from 4 p.m. and the concert kicks off from 8 p.m. Be part of this extraordinary music experience. This event is powered by Young Survivors Entertainment.
Good. Better you somebody else.
Environmentally degradable plastics, or EDP, are plastics that are affected by a combination of environmental conditions that cause the plastic to break down within an acceptable time frame. They are specifically designed to degrade into carbon dioxide, water, and other biomass substances. The level of breakdown can vary based on standard test methods appropriate to the plastic. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
President of the Belize Teachers Union, Elena Smith, during a press conference on Tuesday, responded to the allegations being made at Canaan High School against one of its teachers. The allegation is that the teacher made unsolicited advances towards one of his female students through text messages. Smith took the opportunity to make the BNTU's position clear that they condemn this kind of behavior by teachers. On the other hand, she noted that there is a legal process that must be followed before a teacher facing such an allegation is removed from the classroom. Last night, we showed you a portion of her response. Here is more from her comments on the situation.
We have to pay attention to the process in dealing with these matters, all right? So the education rules itself provides a manner in which these matters are dealt with. So it's not just that the principal would just automatically send the teacher home and say, okay, you did this is the allegation, go home. You have to follow certain procedures. Because a lot of times when these procedures are just like a court, if you miss a step in a procedure, a criminal can get off because of exactly. And it's the same thing with us. So you have to follow certain procedures. And so they have to ensure that there's an investigation going on, lots of things that have to happen. So while as a parent you may want that teacher to be put out right away because of the undue stress on the child, the school has to follow those procedures so that then whatever recommendation the board makes to the ministry, and not the ministry itself but to the Teaching Services Commission, whatever recommendations goes to the committee and to the commission for a decision, it has to be one that would have come about after following that procedure. All right, so that's the first thing. In terms of our students, of course we feel for them. They are our students as well.
Today, the father of the female student from Canaan High School sent our newsroom a voice note responding to the comments of the BNTU president. In his response, he called on Smith to correct her statement if the union is truly in support of the parent and student.
At the end of the day, I am not interested in what the president of the teachers union or what have you has to say. They are governed by the laws outlined to them by the Ministry of Education and the Belize government. So at the end of the day, whether they're a union or not, they need to adhere to those laws as mandated, period. And she should know what her rules are, and so should every teacher, principal, and what have you. It is my civic duty and my job as a parent to light fires and create as much noise as I can on this issue. So they need to correct that statement. If they are truly an ally of the parents, the victims, the students, then they need to correct that statement. Point blank. They're non-negotiable. I understand they're a union. I understand they try to save face. I understand that this hurts their ability to negotiate and, bargain or what have you with the Ministry of Education or the government. But that's not my problem, and that's not what this issue should be about. It's not about saving face.
Today, a virtual press conference was called by the owners of 5 of the 8 basketball teams competing in the Belize Elite Basketball League to share their take on the issues surrounding basketball athlete Kirk Smith Jr. and the resignation en masse of the appeals tribunal. It began with Smith Jr. reportedly putting his signature on 2 contracts, first with the Belize City Defenders and then with Benny's Belize Hurricanes. The bylaws of the league clearly states that a player who signs 2 contracts is suspended for a year, or if one of the teams is willing to release its contract, then the athlete is allowed to play. The matter ended up before the commissioner of the BEBL, Chris McGann, and a decision was made. But the tribunal overturned that ruling following an appeal by Hurricanes management. It remains unresolved, and on Tuesday, the team's owners wrote to McGann. Immediate past commissioner Karim Juan, who is currently with the Cayo Western Balas team, shares the contents of that letter.
So after reviewing all the facts presented to us and having satisfied ourselves of those facts, the Belmopan Red Tigers, Cayo Western Balas, Griga Dream Balas, Orange Walk Running Rebels, and Belize City Defenders have called this press conference to deliver the complete story of Kirk Smith Jr. having signed 2 contracts. Point number 1, the player did indeed sign 2 contracts, first with the Belize City Defenders and later with the Belize Hurricanes. This fact has been admitted to by the player first to the commissioner and then to the appeals body. The Belize City Defenders received the contract with the player's signature on 26 December 2022, along with pictures of the player signing. Point 2, when the matter was first brought to the attention of the BEBL commissioner, he requested from the defenders that they provide proof that the contract with the player's signature had been transmitted to them either directly from the player or an authorized representative of the player. Using the 2 contracts in his possession, and after a telephone conversation with the player and a conference call with both teams, the commissioner issued a ruling on January 18, 2023, which suspended the player for a period of 1 year. Point 4, the commissioner's ruling was appealed by the Belize Hurricanes and put before an appeals body. In a written ruling delivered on January 2nd, 2023, the appeals body erroneously overturned the player's suspension. Notwithstanding the fact that the appeals body written ruling contains contradictions and faulty determinations that also caught our attention.
So what's the next move for BEBL? The team owners today said that they will not participate in any of the home games for the Belize Hurricanes. Some say that this could destroy the league.
It's a dangerous precedent. It's a slippery slope. If we allow that to go through, then we would, yes, it may appear right now that we are trampling in our own homes and breaking up everything in the house. But if we allow that to go through, we will most certainly be basically demolishing our foundation. And then you ask the question of where we would go next. Then the league would virtually disintegrate because it would be chaos.
Late this evening, the Office of the Commissioner for BEBL issued a release demanding that members of the league cease and desist from making any defamatory statements against that office. The release continues to say that sanctions will be issued to all relevant parties who have brought the league into disrepute and have failed to follow the bylaws that prohibit the publishing or posting of negative comments regarding the Office of the Commissioner and the league. When asked for his take on the UDP Belmopan Convention, the PM had a mouthful to share about the newly elected UDP standard bearer, John Saldivar, and the Caucus for Change. He says he is strongly convinced that the UDP has no viable candidate to go up against Area Representative Oscar Mira in that division. Furthermore, PM Briceño took shots at Saldivar and the Caucus for Change by declaring that they represent the worst of the UDP.
Honestly, I don't want to sound boastful, but it does not matter to us who they put to run in that division. Oscar Mira, as a representative, have been doing tremendous work in the division. He's been doing a lot of work in fixing roads, building roads, putting covers, working on parks. We're even setting up now a new police substation in Belmopan thanks to his efforts. So he has been on the ground and he's been working. So it doesn't matter to us who they would want to put as their candidate. But John Saldivar is a reflection of the UDP. He reflects what the UDP truly stands for. And whilst the the leader of the opposition was trying to make these bold statements, he knew what was going to be the results. He knew that you have probably about 20 different former ministers, representatives that are joined at the hip with John Saldivar. They represent the words of the UDP, and that's fine by us. We don't really look at what they're doing, we look at what we're doing. For us, what is important, that we continue to do the work. We have reduced unemployment to 5%, and I challenge anyone that do not believe the numbers to go at the SIB to look at how it was done. Look at the legislation that we just passed for the MSMEs. I mean, that's something that's not done anywhere. When we presented that to the IMF is excited.
The government of Belize is preparing for the arrival of Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez on Sunday, February 12. Belize is preparing a fitting welcome for the Cuban leader, reflecting the close relationship between our two countries. He will arrive at Philip Gosen International Airport, after which a special sitting of the House of Representatives will be held at the Government House. Today, the Prime Minister spoke of the significance of the official visit.
Well, certainly we're quite excited to have the President of Cuba to visit Belize. As you know, Belize have had a very close relationship with Cuba. Cuba, through Fidel Castro, in the 70s was one of the first countries, among the first countries that felt that they need to support Belize's quest for independence. He worked very closely with George Price, and it is through his efforts and Omar Torrijos from Panama that we managed to break that Latin American grip with support for Guatemala. So it is something that you can never forget, and we will always be grateful. We have the issue of the Cuban Brigade, the scholarships. I mean, there's so much that we are very thankful to Cuba, so that the president, for the first time, Cuban president coming to Belize, it's indeed a big thing. It's for us, it's very exciting. It's unfortunate that he could only be here for a short while. But we will be having different discussions with them. Certainly immigration is one of them, the issue of education, the issue of health. All of these matters are very important to both countries, and we do plan to have some of these, to discuss some of these items.
The much-anticipated Dexta Daps concert brought even more publicity than expected. While the fans are looking forward to a night of great entertainment, promoters from the 2020 version of the event are voicing their discontent. The issue goes back to March 2020, just at the start of the COVID pandemic. The Jamaican dancehall and reggae performer Dexta Daps was booked to perform in Belize. But when the shutdown started, it never happened. The promoters of that concert are now left to repay their customers who purchased tickets. They called a press conference today to explain how the COVID pandemic thwarted their concert plans, and that their correspondences with the artists after the borders had reopened amounted to naught. It is a matter over which they say they will take up a legal battle with Daps, whose proper name is Louis Grandison. But while they battle in court to retrieve what they say they have paid the artists, they want to make it right with their customers. News 5's Marian Ali reports.
Are you ready? My Belizean ladies, bring it to the owner. No.
It was a concert promoted in 2020 that never happened because of the COVID pandemic's onslaught, forcing a global shutdown.
We tell her, well, we have to cancel this. And I say, okay, no problem. Just shoot another date. When all is done, we understand the pandemic, that the part of the contract be good.
But all was not good after the borders reopened. Promoters of the initial Dexta Daps concert, Dion Dixie Longsworth and Sheila Pollard of Go Getter Entertainment, explained today that their efforts to try and get the artist to come and carry on with his show fell flat. And that was after they said they had covered half of the artist's fees.
You have to put 50%, and then they get the second part when they reach right before they perform. I'm just lingering until they finally say, Dexta got new management. He get popular and get more hits within that 2 years. So for we 11 US, that's nothing.
They're not trying to reach out to me, you know. I said, I mean, behind the scenes, I'm the one doing all we're communicating with these people. And they have not even tried to say, okay, you know what, let's try to do it in this way, or let's try to do this. Nothing. So yeah, it is disrespectful.
During the shutdown, Longsworth was also looking forward to the day when the borders would reopen and the concert would take place. In the meantime, he said he was trying to pacify his customers who had already invested in tickets.
People buy tickets, and I have somebody will like give. So I don't tell everybody, when we do the show back again, if you have one general, I want to upgrade it to a VIP. If you have one VIP, I upgrade it to a platinum. If you have a platinum, I'll give you one bar top. Because that's I believe in the people.
Longsworth said he realized they would now have to cough up the money to reimburse their customers who had bought tickets when it became evident that their agreement on paper was not going to pan out favorably. He told the media today that keeping their name clean is paramount to making money.
We worry about our reputation now. I do from popcorn to Kiss the Band to Omar, you name it. Our reputation up on the line. Money is not the problem. Whatever we want is a date to honor our people. Because if we never sell ticket like 100 people to our people, we don't worry about it. The last and all, the back and forth. So everybody will purchase one ticket. We will put up, give me a couple, like probably a week or two, so that we put up one proper thing.
Longsworth and Pollard say they will file a lawsuit against the artist to recover the money they had paid him for the concert. They also say they will inform those who purchase tickets via Facebook how they will be reimbursed. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
In a Facebook post today, Dexter Daps responded to the claims made by Longsworth and Pollard's press conference. In it, he said, quote, "Let's start it with the unsigned contract you provided me. Mama Sheila and Papa Dixie, please pay close attention to who you sent your money to. Also, please understand that you didn't even have a signed contract. If you want me to continue with the proof, then I will," unquote. The artist closes by expressing his eagerness to perform in Belize this Saturday, of course, by his new promoters. After the break, Belize hosts Regional Land Degradation Annual General Meeting. We'll tell you about that, but first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
On behalf of the Social Security Board, I extend our deepest gratitude for taking the opportunity offered to be a part of this amazing learning experience. Today, you graduate empowered with knowledge. You graduate with a new skill set that you can put to good use and benefit from it. You have now acquired the knowledge and you are fully prepared to build on the foundation that you have fostered.
We consider ourselves privileged to be offered an opportunity by the Belize Social Security Board to partner with them in this effort.
What I can say is that I'm happy because I'm learning in something that I choose to do.
So we want to thank Social Security Board to provide the funding for that, and we appreciate it, and we hope they continue to provide opportunities like this for more people. Thank you.
Once again, congratulations to the January 2023 cohort Empowering You participants. On behalf of the Social Security Board, I wish you nothing but the very best. Empowering You!
Love Your Honda is back. This year, we are spreading the love in 3 locations: Belize City, Cayo, and San Pedro. In February, get special pricing and discounts on all Honda products. Enjoy up to 23% off selected Honda products, 20% off Castrol, NGK, and Magic products. Also, get free oil change and servicing when you spend $100 or more on Castrol oils. And don't forget your B-Bucks when you make your purchase. There will be a big bike rally throughout the streets of Belmopan and Belize City on February 11th and 18th respectively. Check out our Facebook page for more details on how you can take part. And on February 25th, we'll be hosting the first ever banquet boat show on La Isla Bonita, San Pedro. Honda products will be on display and you can enjoy deals and discounts. February is all about Honda. Available at Banquet, equipment, parts, service.
Land degradation is where lands deteriorate or lose their productive capacity due to unstable land use practices. It is a pressing issue for both Latin America and the Caribbean. It is estimated that about 300 million hectares of land within both regions are considered degraded, the main culprit, large-scale agriculture. So as the global demand for food increases, the situation can become more alarming in this region. That is why government representatives from both Latin America and the Caribbean have been meeting annually to devise a strategy for reforestation and the protection of the forest. This year, that annual meeting is being held in Belize. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
Degraded lands are defined as lands that have lost some degree of their natural productivity through human activity. In 2016, the World Resource Institute found that degraded lands account for over 20% of agricultural and forest lands in Latin America and the Caribbean. The institute further discovered that some 300 million hectares of the region's forests are considered degraded, and over 350 million hectares are classified as deforested.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and other reports state that the world has lost 1/3 of its forest, an area twice the size of the United States. Global deforestation reached its peak in the 1980s. During that decade, 150 million hectares were lost, an area half the size of India. 27% of forest loss results from commodity-driven deforestation, cutting down forests to grow crops such as soy, palm oil, cacao, to raise livestock on pasture, and for mining operations. Urbanization, the other driver of deforestation, accounts for just 0.6%. This clearly shows that it's the commodities, the foods and products we buy, and not where we live, that has the biggest impact on global land use.
Country leaders, private investors, and technical partners from Latin America and the Caribbean have convened in Ambergris Key, Belize, to discuss the necessary changes to the dynamics of land degradation. Initiative 2020, a country-led effort under the United Nations Decade of Ecosystem Restoration Agenda, seeks to restore and protect 350 million hectares of forests in Latin America and the Caribbean by 2030.
We're blessed to be in one of the most beautiful places in the world. We could be snorkeling, we could be scuba diving, we could be zip lining, we could be swimming, we could be doing lots of things, but we're not. We're here. And I think there's 2 reasons we're here. The first reason is that we care. And we use that word a lot. I care about something, but it's one of the most important words and emotions, I think, in human society. We deeply care about these ecosystems, protecting them, restoring them, producing food more sustainably on them. We deeply care about the people that live in these ecosystems that aren't getting what they need from the land. We care. The second reason is that we know there's a better way.
While Initiative 2020 requires each country across the 2 regions to do its part in restoring its forest, all these countries must agree that there will be a coordinated effort towards achieving that goal. Coordination may include sharing technical expertise, information, data, and in some cases, financing. Yorkshire Conservation Trust is among the organizations leading the charge in Belize. Today, the Trust introduced its Restoring Degraded Lands Within Key Areas of the Maya Mountain Nert Forest Reserve project.
We're doing restoration in 500 hectares of degraded lands within the reserve and surrounding buffer zones. And we're aiming to work with 50 farmer beneficiaries, and 25% of this needs to be women participation for inclusive participation. And these training topics involve soil care, propagation techniques, restoration techniques, and farming best practices for agroforestry and also subsistence farming. The project aims to distribute 35,400 saplings. Out of that, we have achieved about 64% that has already been grown and delivered to the farmers for planting. Along with all the science, the community outreach, and protected areas management work, we have an education campaign and are creating education outreach awareness that we have already started working.
Launched in 2014, it is the first time in the history of the regional meeting surrounding Initiative 2020 and land degradation that the head of state was present. Prime Minister John Brisenia gave the keynote address at this morning's opening ceremony. Following his speech, PM Brisenia discussed efforts within Belize.
I'm sure you could find examples of where we've been bad at it, and certainly when it comes to agriculture, the large-scale agriculture that we have. And we've been having that kind of discussion in Cabinet, whereby we have to ensure now that to work with our agricultural farmers to ensure that they do not clean 100% of the land, that we could set aside some parcels or some areas of the land to be able to protect the land, because when you remove all the land, all the trees and so forth, the vegetation, then we have soil runoffs, and that leads to degradation. That leads to desertification of the area, and we have to make sure that that does not happen. But Belize is a good example of where more and more our farmers and even people in the NGO community, the people in tourism understand the importance of protecting our land. And so many countries come to Belize to see that the work that we're doing. How is it that we are starting to plant mangroves and seaweeds? These are all pilot projects that we're starting, and with the help of the technical advice from the UN, but it is more an indigenous homegrown plan that we're doing.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
On Tuesday, before today's AGM in Belize, Belize hosted the first Central American Commission on Environment and Development Council of Ministers meeting. Belize holds the pro tempore presidency under the Central American Integration System, CICA. So Minister of Sustainable Development Orlando Habet presided over the proceedings. He joined Open Your Eyes host this morning, broadcasting live from San Pedro and Burgers Key to share how that meeting went.
Yesterday, our first meeting, very hectic, a long agenda, but I think that we moved through several agenda and thematic items that are very important to us. For us, what was important is that Belize follows the presidency of Dominican Republic, and they handed over some 3 weeks ago. So yesterday at our first meeting, we had to really, again, itemize our priorities. And for us, some key areas that we want to prioritize are: one, to establish that integration between CARICOM and Central America, especially in regards to climate change. Last year at the CICA CARICOM meeting, the heads decided that they wanted 5 Cs to assist to bridge that gap that's been there for so long, especially in the area of climate change. Why important? Because when we go to COP meetings, we want to see that we have common positions. Yes. The more countries you have on a common position, the stronger your position in negotiating for what you want.
Earlier in the newscast, we reported on the earthquake off the coast of Belize and the tsunami fears that followed. Early warning for major catastrophes is crucial to preserve life in vulnerable communities. Studies have found that 24 hours notice of an impending hazard event can decrease potential damages by up to 30%. Unfortunately, 1 in every 3 person globally, particularly within small island developing states, is not covered by early warning systems. Even more alarming, 60% of Africa's population is not covered. Notwithstanding the discouraging figures, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres envisions a world where all persons across the earth are protected with early warning systems by 2027. This is in line with Target G of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Management. Target G speaks to increase availability and access to early warning systems and risk information. Following the launch of an executive action plan for early warning systems by 2027 at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, the Caribbean community is taking the lead in the implementation of the Early Warning for All initiative. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
The Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015-2030 is an agreement between United Nations member countries to substantially reduce risks and losses associated with disasters globally by 2030. The framework is built on 7 targets, the 7th being the increase of early warning systems for people by 2023. To this end, on Monday, the United Nations for Disaster Risk Management hosted the first regional launch of the Early Warnings for All initiative for the Caribbean.
Today we carry a clear message. Every person in the Caribbean, in small island developing states, and the world must be protected by an effective, multi-hazard early warning system. This is not a privilege, but a right that every person on Earth should enjoy. That is why the Secretary General has launched the Early Warnings for All initiative, with a goal to reach universal early warning systems coverage by 2027. Early warning systems save lives, they protect livelihoods, and deliver huge economic and social benefits. Just 24 hours notice of an impending hazardous event can cut damage by 30%.
Without systems to inform people that hazardous weather is on the way, the potential risks and losses significantly increase. It has been found that countries without adequate warning systems experience mortality rates that are 8 times higher than countries equipped with these systems.
This is especially true for the Caribbean, which suffers from the large disasters relative to its size. Due to the effects of climate change, we know that climate and other disasters are set to increase, exposing small island developing states to greater vulnerabilities.
In her remarks at Monday's event, Dr. Carla Barnett, the Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, stressed the importance of developing systems that are people-centered, in which communities play an active role. She emphasized the need for credible and accurate reports, void of disinformation and misinformation.
We must continue on a path where early warning is seen by all users as underpinned by principles of authority, credibility, and salience. Med services have constantly battled stubborn disregard for warnings and fake information, which undermine credible efforts and engender public displeasure when a disaster does not occur as it was predicted. This is detrimental to the goal. We learned during our most recent global health crisis that rampant misinformation can be so debilitating that it can become its own crisis.
A midterm review of the implementation of the Sendai Framework, published on January 31, 2023, found that annual economic losses from climate and weather-related events have risen significantly over the last decade. Take, for example, the damages caused by Hurricane Lisa to the Belize district and the economic implication of such damages. Not only are families displaced, but many of those affected are further marginalized.
Early warning systems do not only save lives, but also provide vast economic benefits. They are considered to be low-hanging fruit for climate change adaptation because they are relatively cheap in comparison to the cost of dealing with the consequences of improper planning and preparedness. We must acknowledge that emergency management involves prevention, preparedness, response, mitigation, and recovery. However, the best disaster response is ensuring that we have the foresight to avoid it from the start or to take upfront measures to minimize the social and economic impact.
The United Nations Secretary General's vision of a universe where all people are equipped with early warning systems will cost over $3.1 billion US. That is equivalent to every person on Earth giving approximately 50 cents a year for the next 5 years. Given the frequency and increased intensity of annual regional disasters, Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, stressed the importance of collaboration among member states in seeing that the entire Caribbean is covered.
And we therefore have to ask ourselves, how do we give ourselves the best chance of survival? We do so first and foremost by working together. Working together across countries, working together across institutions, working together across communities, working together sectorally and across sectors, working together in settling the financing that remains absent, working together in settling the legislative framework and policy framework that is critical, working together at all levels. And the first thing, whether as an individual who suffers from addiction or as a country that is exposed to vulnerability, the first requirement is to know.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
A house was destroyed by fire in Belize City on Tuesday evening, but the issue is a sensitive one because fire officials say the blaze was an incendiary one, which means it was set, but the person who occupied the house is someone whose father believes needs psychiatric evaluation. The house at number 1898 Balan Street in the Lake Independence area was owned by Arturo Agustin, and he told News 5 that he has been having issues with his son, Justo Agustin. Fire officials did say the fire was intentionally set, but it was perhaps an accident. News 5's Marian Ali reports.
One of 3 houses that stood inside this yard on Balan Street was totally destroyed by fire around 4 on Tuesday evening. Police say that Justo Agustin reported that upon entering his house, he observed it was on fire. The house did not have power supply, and today, station supervisor with the Belize National Fire Service, Kenneth Mortis, told reporters that the blaze was more of an accident.
It was an incendiary cause, not one of a malicious intent, one more of a negligence. So we'd classify that as negligent use of an open flames.
And it was set where? Exactly the house?
In the living room area of his house.
Mortis said that there were several gallons of fuel inside Justo Agustin's house, the purpose for which is unknown. He added that if firefighters did not respond quickly, the blaze could have easily spread to the other 2 houses in the yard. Justo's father, Arturo Agustin, lost around $10,000 in the blaze. He wasn't at home at the time, but blames his son.
I got borrow tokens because I want to talk down my head. So I said, I can borrow the tool. Stop by Mr. Jenkins and they buy a leaf cigarette when I hear a boom, first boom. So my neighbor from across there, yeah, he said, Mr. Teddy, your house the burn down. I said, impossible. Because nothing on my house there, and you understand me? So the man said, Mr. Teddy, your house the burn down. Then I hear a boom again, and I hear a boom again, and then I decided to look around, and I see this ball of smoke going up in the air, and then we run come across there, and then we say that the house in a fire. This man do some ridiculous thing where, I don't know, the idea that the back there may catch fire first, and I don't know, like he just mess with fire. First, I'm over there, so I say I bar that thing, the car. Man, look, he catch the whole bar through back there, so fire.
We met Justo Agustin, who told us he was upset and that he was at home when the fire started, but he does not know how it started.
When I went out, my bicycle missing. And I get frustrated and I gone inside and now vexation. And then when I come out back, I said this house will catch fire. When I see the house, they on fire. Right fire.
How did it catch fire?
For front of the door.
Yeah, with what?
With the gas and the with gas.
You lit it?
I don't lit it, but the gas made it right there. And I spilled the gas.
So where did the fire come from? A cigarette, a box of match, a lighter?
I don't know what, miss. The house just catch fire.
So Agustin lost all his belongings and is now staying with his brother in another house in the yard. Reporting for News 5, I am Marion Ali.
When we return, the joy in the gift of life with Rotary.
You know the saying, desperate times call for desperate measures. What do you do when you get to a dead end? Sometimes life just doesn't go the way we planned it to go. And when you're in those seasons of life, what do? Where do you go? Who do you turn to? Join Sagebrush Church as we begin our series, Dead End Desperation, where we'll talk about following God in some of the hardest moments of our lives. Be sure to visit sagebrush.church or download the Sagebrush app for locations, service times, and more.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank contactless MasterCard debit card. Introducing our standard debit and MasterCard Platinum debit cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
A medical team from the U.S. is back in Belize to assist with providing the gift of life to the children of Belize. It's an initiative of the Rotary Club of Belize that has saved the lives of so many little ones who have heart conditions and require medical care. Some procedures are done in the country, while other more complicated conditions require the child and a guardian to travel to the U.S. for surgery. Today, News 5 visited the Lion's Den in Belize City, where the Gift of Life Clinic is taking place. Dwayne Moody reports.
She started when she was a baby. She was actually 2 years old, but before she was 2 years old, we found out that she was sick. But we never take it too serious because we may say, well, nothing bad. So one day she just gets sick and her whole tongue get blue, and we decided to bring her to the hospital. It's a hole in her heart and a valve that needed fixed, and it already been fixed. But they say sometimes down the road we will need to do another surgery. But I hope it doesn't have to be, because God is good.
Meet Sharon Roca. At 2 years old, she was diagnosed with a heart condition. The long-term care provided to her and all beneficiaries of the Gift of Life program allows Sharon to visit Dr. Jeff Delaney and a team of medical professionals annually for checkups. Now 12, she's celebrating the gift of life. Dr. Delaney has been coming to Belize for the past 15 years, helping young people diagnosed with various heart complications. The facts: 1 in every 100 births is a child with heart disease.
We want to help, and when you have a situation where that type of medical care or the specialists that the children might need might not be as available locally, it's great to come down and lend a hand and get these children seen and treated and get them the diagnosis they need to get the care they need. So in addition to holes in the heart, we see a lot of children that have valve disease, where one of the valves may be either blocked or may be leak a great deal, and then that can put a strain on the heart and make the heart dilate or not work as well. We also can have more severe disease where the heart is not formed properly and the blood vessel connections and things may be going to the wrong chamber, and those can be very devastatingly bad if it's not diagnosed and treated.
The Gift of Life program has semi-annual clinics in Belize where parents bring their young babies in for diagnosis, checkups, and in some cases, surgical procedures.
These are the doctors coming in, the medical team from Omaha. The one in August is actually from Tampa. So we do 4-day clinics. We do Dangriga and 3 in Belize City for all the rest of the country. And we normally see about 70, 80 kids.
Heart disease left untreated will get worse over time, and you can have a window of opportunity where something on a child might be completely fixable, but if it doesn't get seen, doesn't get diagnosed and treated, then it can become a problem that isn't fixable, that either can cause the child to die early or not have the same exercise capacity and ability to do the things they want to do as if they got treated and got it taken care of.
Some patients, especially when diagnosed late, eventually succumb to their heart condition despite all interventions. For those who are fortunate enough to receive medical intervention in time, the gift of life and the joy it brings is priceless.
Now she's 12 years old and look how beautiful and big she is, and she's a superhero, so strong. She could do anything, and I'm so proud of her. And God is good, because I say He'd have a lot to do with us in our life, because I'm so happy for her, because we always been here. It's been 10 years every time we come here, and every time they show us a lot of love, and she's super excited, and we're so glad.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Today, the Social Security Board donated $25,000 to the Rotary Club of Belize to assist with the Gift of Life program. The Rotary Club plans to use the donation to help in the provision of semi-annual clinics, as well as the cost associated with surgeries and specialized care for children with congenital defects. News 5 was on hand for the check handing over.
We remain committed to ensuring that social protection is provided in times of vulnerability, and that is exactly what we've done here today through our partnership with the Gift of Life. They stand on the same premise that we do to ensure that social protection is attained and to protect those in their vulnerable moments. As you can imagine, some of these families, when they have learned of some of the difficult diagnoses that their children are suffering from congenital defects, these are hard use and hard pills to swallow.
That donation really supports us tremendously. If we're averaging between 13 to 16 children, sending them away for surgery, obviously that costs a lot of money. There's expenses involved in not only the travel, but the accommodation, hosting them. They're away for a minimum like a month and a half when they go away. Yes, we do have other Rotary clubs who support us by maybe trying to host them, but there are some little expenses. The hospitals over there are the ones who really take a toll, because they actually sponsor the surgeries free of cost, and those surgeries are tremendously expensive.
The Pan American Health Organization has changed its leader from Dr. Carissa Etienne to Dr. Barbosa da Silva, and along with that comes change comes another for Belize, as Dr. Noreen Jack makes way for her successor in Belize. But her departure was accompanied with a final donation of refrigerators and other equipment that were funded by the U.S. government. The handing over took place on Tuesday in Belmopan, and News 5's Marian Ali was there. Here's that report.
The handing over of several pieces of cold chain equipment that store Belize's vaccinations took place today at the Ministry of Health and Wellness National Vaccination Building in Belmopan. For Minister of Health and Wellness, Kevin Bernard, the donations from PAHO have been immense.
There have been a lot of great support from PAHO through the Ministry of Health, and they're so numerous to mention. Constant engagement. PAHO has assisted us as well in terms of coming up with the recommendations that we are now looking forward in terms of our health sector reform. Today you see the ice line refrigerators, the refrigerators trucks, that the cold chain equipment that is managed in terms of the vaccinations that we have that utilize cold chain.
Dr. Noreen Jack, who has been PAHO, whose country representative in Belize since 2012, retires after today. Still, she did not go before fulfilling her last duties, despite the challenges of getting them here.
It took us a while, but we eventually got it through Guatemala, through the border. It was the easiest way to get them into Belize. 200 vaccine carriers, 500 temperature monitoring devices, 35 remote temperature monitoring devices with software licenses, 20 ice line refrigerators, 4 refrigerated trucks, and they're outside. They're nicely displayed out there.
The U.S. provided the funds for the last batch of medical equipment that PAHO, who provided for Belize. Today, U.S. Ambassador to Belize, Michelle Kwan, said that the assistance is part of the U.S. commitment to continue along this path.
Secretary Blinken recently announced his priorities of 2023, and he pledged to strengthen and mobilize tools and partnerships to deliver solutions for the shared global challenges of food, health, the shared challenges of energy, climate, migration, and economic security. All of us in this room are playing an important role in helping to achieve these important goals, and also critical for a better future for all of humanity.
The last shipment of equipment is worth over $2 million. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
Up next, St. Joseph RC School gets a playground from Rotary Club Belize Sunrise.
In 2018, I was diagnosed with cervical 4A, stage 4A cancer. First, it was the size of a grapefruit. That's what the doctor told me. No? The kidney got enlarged. I couldn't do any chemotherapy because of the kidney. So I had to do only radiation. And I did my first session of 25. And then when I finished with the 25 sessions, I went back, she checked it, and she saw 4 centimeters. And I went back for the next 10 days. And after that, when she checked it again, she said, oh, it's like nothing is there. It wasn't painful, but it's a machine that you go under, and they have like a big, like a circular, and that goes 5 times. You'll take 5 minutes. 5 minutes to do the radiation, 1 session. Then you go back the next morning, another session. Well, I personally will highly recommend Galenia Hospital because of its good services, friendly staff, the doctors, very caring. Well, I just want to thank them for everything that they have done for me, you know, the staff and the doctor, especially Dr. Jamie, because she was my doctor for the radiation. No?
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart.
It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Lionel Messi! What an incredible strike from Lionel Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Lionel
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Over at St. Joseph RC School in Belize City, the Rotary Club Belize Sunrise officially inaugurated a playground inside the school compound. It has been 5 years in the making, as the school was on a waiting list to receive a donated playground that will help facilitate a well-rounded educational experience for the hundreds of students attending the school. News 5's Dwayne Moody was there for the ribbon-cutting ceremony and files this report.
St. Joseph RC School waited 5 years to have their students play like this. They were on a waiting list for the donation of playground equipment. And so today's ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially inaugurate the playground, including slides and swings, was a welcomed moment of excitement for the children and the leadership at the school.
This is a dream of ours for over maybe 5 years. And finally, in October, we received message that yes, this dream will be a reality. We are ecstatic because our students have a big yard, but the items that you have seen here today will only enhance the play of our students. We are looking forward to engaging our students in many meaningful interplay on the playground with varied activities that interact from inside the classroom and outside.
The Rotary Club Belize Sunrise, with assistance from the Edmonton Rotary Club of Alberta, Canada, donated the playground. President Iselma Martinez confirmed that the school was on that waiting list and their turn to get their recreational area came up.
It took us a week's worth of being here at the school compound and installing this wonderful playground. There were a lot of obstacles in the way, but we managed to persevere. It was made possible primarily by the Rotary Club of Edmonton, that's in Canada, and they have a partner that donated the play set. So it's a collaboration between both, and they chose the Rotary Club of Belize Sunrise to partner with them to make this possible. So we aided in providing material, the labor, the cost of transportation, all of that, and installation.
The Convention on the Rights of the Child states that every child has the right to leisure, play, and participate in cultural and artistic activities. Principal Claudia Aviles speaks of how this will provide a holistic educational experience for its students.
Science has proven that when we engage in exercise, the brain functions best because it has rebooted. And so the students will have that advantage to get back into the classroom. Also, when children are on the playground, they need to develop certain skills. They need to develop the skills to interact with one another, of sharing, of waiting, of being patient, of taking turn. And these are also activities and skills that the students need to have inside the classroom.
And when it comes to safety, Principal Aviles says there's no need for parents to worry.
We as teachers and here the administrative team has revisited guidelines that we have been introducing to our students. So when the students actually get the chance to play, the teachers will have already engaged them in some of the protocols that should be followed when they are on play.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, good night.